Happy Thursday and welcome to video lesson 4. I'm in Chicago today and I will actually see you next week on Tuesday. But please, for today, work through this lesson, which is a pretty short one. And as always, follow it up with the video lesson feedback quiz and make sure that you are keeping up on the digital analytics fundamentals modules. Next week, you'll actually start on the platform principles modules, and we're getting much closer to time for you to take the actual certification exam. Okay, so we're talking about audience analysis today, and like I said, this is going to be a pretty short one. First, what is audience analysis? This is a way for you to figure out who the heck is actually paying attention to your posts, to your tweets, to your pages on your website, and figuring out who they are, what they like, what their interests are, so that you can create content that is a really good fit for them. So any of you that had me for principles of marketing know I tell you the entire point of marketing is to get the elements of the marketing mix to match up to who your customers are. Well, so this is one part of that, right? All of your social, all of your web presence is pretty much promotion. And so this is just a way to make sure your promotion matches up with your customer base. You want your digital content to fit what your audience likes. So how do you figure out who your audience is? Well, there are a whole host of audience analysis tools. So we'll just run through these pretty quickly. So search insight tools are used for mining search engine volume patterns. And these tend to look at some basic things like geography, industry categories. And so one of the tools available is Google Insights for Search, which is actually a free tool. And then there are, of course, paid vendors who will also do some of these things for you. SEO, again, is search engine optimization, and you can use, there are a lot of SEO tools that you can use to monitor and to track and to manage your own keyword rankings. So this is a huge, a huge industry, search engine optimization is. And, Bing has its own platforms for this stuff, but Google is the leader in this, and within Google AdWords, they've got tons of tools that you can use. Or actually, they've just got a couple of tools, but they're exceptionally powerful and robust to keep track of who's actually seeing your ads, who's clicking on your ads, how are they getting there, that kind of information. User surveys, this is exactly what these sound like. If you remember earlier in another video, I mentioned, and you've seen these before, you've been on a website and before you can get too far, they go, oh, when you're done, please take this survey. So, you've surveyed your users. Did they like your website? Or didn't they? Or did they find what they were looking for? That kind of thing. Website profiling services, basically you enter a website URL and you get back a site profile that reveals the traffic statistics and then the search volume. Google Ad Planner is the Google's tool for this. Web analytics we've talked about before. Here you're looking at where your traffic comes from, how many pages they look at, what your bounce rate is. Remember, bounce rate should be low. Bounce rate's a key thing. Also, social listening we've already talked about, but this is the idea of measuring sentiment and how many likes you have and how engaged your audience is. You've got influence analysis, and these are looking for the people in your audience who really influence other people. So we've talked before about this concept of thought leaders. So that the idea that maybe one person in your group is the respected, I'm thinking about your friend group, I'm sorry. So in your friends, you've probably got somebody who always knows the cool new bands. And when they post, oh my God, just listen to this on YouTube. It was fantastic. You got to check it out. You do. And so bands and agents and recording companies want to see who are the people that are posting things that then drive other people. Who are you as a user paying attention to? Who's got the credibility and who's driving traffic? Sharing analysis. This is, again, when you're sharing a post or retweeting something, there are tools available to say, who's sharing it, what kind of person, what platform, again, this is the idea of what, where were people when they saw something about us that drove them to our web page or to our Facebook page, that kind of thing. And then you've also got social profile and activity analysis. Um, these are things that you can do to a certain extent on Hootsuite, but the idea is to figure out who your users are by location, by language. Maybe you might be looking at people's bios on their Twitter feed and be like, oh, these are the kind of people that tend to, like my pages. So clearly I've appealed to a group with, maybe it's people with a particular hobby. And it may be a hobby that you hadn't really associated with your brand before, but now you know that, these people are somehow liking you. So maybe you might tailor your promotion to better fit the people with that hobby. Okay, and then you've got audience analysis techniques. This is really two broad categories. You've got conversation typing. And so again, when you're having a conversation with people, when they're talking, whether you're having the conversation with them, you are a brand and you're having a conversation with some users, or whether users are having a conversation about your brand kind of beside you but not with you, you can keep track of the type of conversations they are. So it could be about people could be complaining or they could be complimenting you, or it could be reaction to a company announcement. So, for instance, you guys all know that I'm a big Disney freak, and one of the platforms that I follow on Facebook is a company that posts a ton of information about updates about Disney. Now, they aren't Disney, their business is related to Disney. They're basically a travel agency, and they have a ton of media. They've got a podcast, they've got web page, they've got discussion boards. They've got a Twitter presence, Instagram presence, Facebook presence, and it's all based on the number of tourists that want to go to Disney, primarily in Orlando. And they will post something about an update. So, for instance, for the last several years, the fireworks show at Magic Kingdom has been called Wishes. Well, Wishes is about to come to an end. They're going to introduce a new fireworks show this year. So when Disney announces that, then this media company, this travel agency company that I follow called The Diz, will make the announcement, and there will be an entire conversation about Disney on the Diz's post. And so it's important for a brand like Disney to kind of keep track of those. Their conversations that are happening not with Disney, but about Disney. And so, there will be people again that will have, lots to say when the company makes a new announcement. The other kind of audience analysis technique are event triggers. Um, and so event trigger technique is essentially what it sounds like. Um, the idea is that something has happened and you know that the social media um, conversations are going to uptick. For example, if you do a Google Trends search for Milliken, there's a big uptick in searches for Milliken um, from this fall related to the conversation of the national anthem and, um, related to the conversation about the national anthem and how athletes, what athletes' behavior is during said national anthem. And then a couple years ago, in late summer, early August, there was another uptick when the article broke out about our psychology professor's um, uh, infamous past. And so when something happens big, again, it could be an announcement your company made. It could be something that happened that you couldn't control. It could be a news story that breaks about you that you didn't expect. You know that you need to be paying more attention to social media then because a specific event has triggered that conversation. Okay, that's more than enough of me rattling on today. So go do the video lesson feedback quiz. Make sure you're keeping up with the digital analytics fundamentals modules. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on Tuesday.